So as I said earlier, Jeremy, I think it's appropriate we end on London 2012 today, and you've sort of must be, with a few days still to go, but you must be sort of quietly basking in the glory of what's happened. But looking back, what would you say are the key ingredients for success of a major project such as the Olympics?
I don't think it's any different to the success of any great project. You need an intelligent client who know exactly what they're about. They know the business rationale for what they're going to do, that they've got the cash to do it, that they've got a champion to push the project through when times get tough. I mean, there's sort of three key things to look at. And that there's clarity on governance, time, money, all those big building blocks of any successful projects. I mean, in money terms, you know, an Olympic Games is not that big. It's probably not on the world radar screen of big projects. But in complexity, it's absolutely off the radar screen. Mm-hmm. You know, sort of bringing together 400 stakeholders, dealing with local politics, city politics, national politics, a change of government halfway through. This sort of phase that we had to go through of winning the bid, and I'd sort of describe that as HMG having an OMG moment, when, what do you mean we've won? For goodness me, that wasn't supposed to happen. And there are key milestones for every project, be it sport or building a nuclear power station, where, you know, you've got to have clarity on those 10 big successful building blocks for that are going to get you to, you know, 8 p.m. on the 27th of July 2012, because our project was kind of time of the essence. And one of the things we had to major on, both John and his business and the ODA, and sort of the issues that as an executive we were trying to integrate, is continually trying to move things to the left on the program. You know, do it early. Do it before it becomes a drama, before it becomes a crisis. Get the difficult stuff out of the way right at the beginning.
Now, I think during the Games preparation time, there was some criticism from the regions that it felt like a Games for London, not a Games for the UK. It's too early to tell post-Games, but how would you respond to that?
Well, every Olympics needs a host city, you know, and so it was London. But quite early on, there was a recognition that some sport had to be done around the country. And so, you know, football was put out there, and outside the perimeter of London, we had Broxbourne for the whitewater rafting. We had the rowing out at Eton Dorney. We had sailing at Weymouth, and we've had some of the Paralympic sports out there as well. But as well as that, we had over 600 pre-games training camps in one way or another. In running the torch relay, you know, we had to coordinate and bring together with the low-cog torch relay team over 390 local authorities. And on that torch relay, you know, about 15 million people attended and went to the relay. Actually, our expectations were way, way above the number that, the real number was way above what we expected. On top of that, we had volunteers. The volunteers came from all over the country. I went to a volunteer training session in Wembley Arena, and there was actually someone who'd come under their own steam from the Falkland Islands, right? Because they absolutely wanted to be a volunteer for the London 2012 Games. So we dragged people in from the country, policemen, volunteers. We put sport out into the country. We put the pre-games training camps out into the country. And we constricted our torch relays, the Olympic relay and the Paralympic relay, just to the UK. So we didn't do an international one like China. And sort of made it a UK's Games in as much as we were able to do that.
Well, I think anyone who went to any of the venues during the Games, including the Paralympic Games, and you hear the diversity of regional British accents, I think we can confirm that it was a games for the UK, not just for London.
Yeah.
Now the hard work begins again. The legacy plan. You've got to put a legacy plan in place. Is there is there really the cross-party support and motivation and will and commitment as there was at the beginning when we won in Singapore to carry on with this journey and really make it last?
I would say that there is. I sort of, as a non-politician, I kind of characterize supervising an Olympics a bit like a relay race. You know, at the beginning, the first leg, this guy had to look after it. You know, we've got to get the things built. We've got LOCOG, they're staging the games, right? Then we give the baton to the athletes and we say, here you go, we can't do any more, you now perform. You know, and the Brits did really well. You know, 65 medals in the Olympics, third place, and you know, I've got a target of 103 medals to get to for the Paralympics. And then very nicely at the end, you give the baton back to the politicians who thought about this thing in the first place. And you say, here you are, this is what we did. And now, what are you going to do? Mm-hmm. And all the body language is that, okay, so this has been very successful. And it's been good for the UK. We sort of all suddenly discovered that we're proud of our own country, that we can go out there and do stuff. We can wave a flag and cheer for Britain, you know, in whatever it is that's happening. We can do it on time. We can do it on budget. We can organise big stuff. We can keep it safe and secure. You've heard from Chris Allison this morning. Blimey, we're successful. This is fantastic. And this sort of realisation, I describe it as national pride. I think we've got all the doors are open now to continue that in sport, whether it's sport in schools. And you know, my past boss, who disappeared yesterday morning to look after health, Jeremy Hunt, kicked off the school sports, the School Olympics program, as we called it. And we had our first session in the Olympic Park in May. You know, we're hoping to continue that. The elite sport people have done very, very well. Mm-hmm. And now they've got, how are they going to continue that through to Rio? And collectively, what, as a management group, we've done, whichever part of the Olympics you were in, is we've really raised the bar, I think, for UK Limited. You know, Alan sitting over here has had the bar raised for Alan in terms of he's got to get £13 billion worth of business out of the Olympic Games ultimately. Mm-hmm. He's also got to get me a key to the Lancaster House wine cellar, but that's another matter. That's for later tonight. Yeah. So we've come to a spot, I think, where there's great opportunity for everybody. You know, whatever business you're in, whether you're in sport or industry, construction, you know, event management, doesn't matter. What are you going to do? And it seems to me that the thing it's about leadership now. Yeah. Is leadership going to stand up and say, okay, here's a plan, off we go, follow me, let's do this?